Hey guys, Huzzy here bringing you another video. Now welcome to the extra video of the day, and it is the patch note video. So in today's episode of A to Z, episode 1, I asked, do you guys want me to do one or are you good yourselves? And everybody was like, please do a patch note video. I have no idea what's going on. There's so much that's changed. Please do. So what I'm going to say is this isn't going to be like a crazy long video. I don't want to make this like a 2-hour epic. I want to maybe make it between half an hour and an hour, trying to explain as much as possible, but also leaving room for you guys to do your own research and you guys to actually explore things in game. So what I'm going to say, and I know it's a pretty big part of this update, or this patch, is I'm not going to be covering the Assassin update. The reason for it is, let me just kind of show you, is if you go on the patch notes yourselves, I'm on the new client, go on the website. They've done all videos on the new Assassins. Every single one has a new video. I would not do it justice reading through all this stuff. It's just way better if you literally just watch the video that they've made. So that's what I'd recommend. You know, each video is 2 to 3 minutes long. Maybe some of them are a bit longer. So that shouldn't take you a long time to understand the Assassins. But yeah, I'm just not going to go through them because I personally feel the videos just do a better job. All I'll say about the Assassin update, just to kind of give initial assumptions that people have. 2 champions that they think are pretty strong is Fizz and Talon, but people think Fizz could still be a bruiser top lane more than the Assassin with his new kit. But then also Rengar is, apparently it's been a good change for good Rengar players, bad change for bad Rengar players. So you get rewarded if you're good at Rengar, you get punished if you're bad at Rengar. Because his damage actually has gone up, kinda. If you can land everything, his damage has obviously gone way down if you don't land stuff. So Rengar's interesting, but for the most part, people are overhyping the Assassins in their strength. They're actually not that strong. Supports probably are stronger in scale than Assassins right now. So yeah, the reason people are playing them all the time, banning them all the time, they're probably not that good. Like, if you didn't play an Assassin before it was reworked, you're probably not instantly going to be amazing at it. You know, that's the thing. So that's all I'll say about the Assassins. Again, watch the videos yourselves. It'll be linked down below, all the patch notes, so you guys can have a look. So let's get to the first actual thing that we can talk about. Is we will quickly go over stealth mechanics. So they've changed stealth in this game, where before you had, technically you did have two versions of stealth. You had invisibility and you had camouflage. So many people were not aware of this, but it was true that Evelynn had what's called camouflage even back then. All they've done is basically refigure it a little bit, put a couple more champions into camouflage, and then change how invisibility works. So what they've done is they've put Evelynn, Rengar's ultimate, and Twitch's Q in the camouflage, which basically means they can be revealed by the new ward, control ward, or they can be revealed by champions. So why these champions, some people have been asking. Because there's very little counterplay to their stealth, I believe. It's a long-lasting stealth that if they are forever invisible, you could never see them. There is no counterplay to that. You know, how could you counterplay an Evelynn if you can't randomly get vision of her in bits and pieces? That would be nearly impossible. Also, Rengar, there is counterplay to actually buying a control ward, used to be a vision ward, to actually counter his ultimate. Same goes for Twitch. Those two would be nearly uncounterable or they would be too strong if they couldn't be seen in their ultimate. It's a strategy to counter those champions with one of those wards. Then moving down to invisibility. Basically, invisibility is different than before. You will not be able to see these champions with a ward. And all these champions basically are Akali in her W, Kha'Zix in his ultimate, LeBlanc with her mimic, it's very brief, Shaker with his deceive, his Q, Talent R, his big bladey thing, Teemo's passive, just standing still like a ward, Vayne's Q into tumble, and then finally Wukong's W. So they're only revealed by turrets, they're not revealed by anything else. I don't even think that they're revealed by champions. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think if Lee Sin E's a champion who's invisible, I don't think he gains vision of them. I think that's what they're kind of going with this. Where the camouflage champions, if Lee Sin E's and gets the vision granted, I think he will see them. I think that's a bit difference there. Why these, by the way? They're short-lasting. camouflages. Basically, what you got to look at it is Wukong's W. What you could say is very similar to Rengar's ultimate, that it gives him that engage to run in. But what Wukong's stealth lasts about 2-3 seconds, where Rengar's can last like, I don't know, more. So that's probably why there's more counterplay, because you should be able to see a Wukong coming. You should see him running and then using W. As long as you've got good vision coverage, he can't just run from halfway in the river to mid lane. Like, that's the difference. So there you go. There is Shimmer, which I guess is the bit of a different thing, is you won't gain full vision of them, but you'll see a shimmer of where they can be. Think of the red trinket, the upgraded red trinket. When you use it, you get a silhouette in red of where someone's going to be. It's kind of similar to that. Like, you don't actually see them, but you kind of get a tracking of where they could be. That's what Shimmer is. Wards is the new control ward. It's the replacement to vision wards, and yeah, it's basically the same. Other than it only looks at camouflaged units, not invisible units. I don't know why they've changed it, to be honest. But yeah, we felt confident removing vision wards from the combat equation. That leaves us with an item that serves one person vision control, hence the name. Okay, that's why they did it. So basically, it's more just having a permanent ward on the map that doesn't get destroyed and grants vision rather than anything else. And I don't think it grants any vision, actually. Control wards reveal and disable nearby hidden enemy traps and sight wards. So they basically are a counter to wards and a counter to traps. So Teemo Shrooms, Shaco boxes, that's what it counters. Also camouflage enemies, there you go. So, but not invisible ones. Vision wards are gone. Ward rewards, so it's actually you get more XP for killing them, which is interesting. That could make the difference of getting a kill or not. And they've also removed lifesteal from them, so you can't actually lifesteal from killing them anymore. New stat, lethality. Now there's a lot of stuff up in the air with lethality at the moment. Some people think it's good, some people think it's bad, some people are just going to ignore it. So basically, let's just read the passage here. Assassins have a snowball problem. When ahead, they're really ahead. But when they're behind, they're pretty underwhelming. That is true. In part, this is the nature of a 1v1 outplayed champion, but for physical assassins, flat armor penetration is I've got a very dry mouth right now. You guys can read that word. The problem, basically making it worse. Mages and marksmen, the assassin's natural prey, don't typically build defenses early on, so the bulk of the armor in lane comes from levels. Sonya's Hourglass is the main exception. So if assassins start snowballing, flat armor pen items punches through the significant portion of the target's health, continuing their snowball. But if assassins fall behind, their threat is mitigated by the champion's blah blah blah. Basically what they're doing, in layman's terms, is what they feel is necessary is an assassin has great snowball potential, but if they build armor penetration and they start to snowball, there's not much counterplay for the enemy team because they can't build enough armor to catch up for the armor penetration of a snowballing assassin. But if an assassin gets behind, then basically they're made useless because they don't have enough armor penetration to break through the people that are stronger than them. So this lethality stat, basically what it is, it gives you a bit of armor penetration in the late game, but then it slowly scales into the late game with you. So yes, you can snowball, but effectively it gives you, instead of like, assassins have two levels. So useless assassin, very useful assassin. There's two separate tiers. There's nothing really in the middle. They're trying to make that curve, like an actual line in between them. So they're not always useless and they're not always just OP. There's like a line that they can actually go on. So that's the idea of lethality. So 10 lethality grants 4 flat armor penetration, up from 0.33 armor penetration per enemy level, capping at 10 once the enemies are level 18. So there you go. It's pretty much that simple. It's interesting. There are, all the armor penetration runes are now lethality. Hybrids or lethality. That's basically the new stat. It's just called it. They've just called it different. So all the items along with this have actually now been updated. So the Dirk, there's a Poacher's Dirk. There's a couple new items which we'll go over in a second. I've read the patch notes, but I haven't fully digested them. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video as well myself. So Serrated Dirk. Attacks. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to read this bit here. It just gives a summary and then we might look through the stats. So Serrated Dirk, the attack damage is up, the on-hit damage after kill is removed, and the out-of-combat movement speed is added, which is interesting. So the attack damage has gone up to 25. And again, I don't believe they changed the cost. Otherwise, they would have said they've changed the cost. So this is still, I think, an 1100 item. So 1100 gold for 25 attack, which is interesting. Plus 15 lethality. So it no longer gives 10 flat, it gives plus 15. Remember the equation. Every 10 lethality gives 4 armor penetration flat, which means this item flat, when you first purchase it, gives 6 armor penetration flat, which means it's gone down by 10, but every single level it goes up, or every single enemy, it's something like every single time the opponent's level has gone up, whoever you're attacking, it scales with that. Which means this item in the late game is going to have more armor penetration than it did before. When it's scaling. Initially, no. Initially, you've got more attack damage, but you've got less armor penetration. But by the time you hit like level 10, this item will be better than the original Dirk. Then, Knives That Make You Faster is a new passive, which is plus 20 movement speed while out of combat. That is insane. Like, this is built for Rengar, Talon, Twitch. Like, this is just their new item. Like, Dirk is now amazing for these assassins. It's literally the assassin item. So that's awesome. Alright, next item is Poacher's Dirk. Another Dirk. I don't know why they like the name Dirk. Transform into Serrated Dirk after killing 3 large monsters in the enemy jungle. So it's a jungle item. I don't know where... So basically, Poacher's Dirk then turns into this. So it's for an initial early game thing for an assassin jungler. So if you're playing Rengar, if you're playing Talon jungle, which I know some people are, buy this after probably your machete or your first jungle item. And then you'll probably want this fairly early on, maybe even before you finish your jungle item. Because, let's go through it, it costs 750 gold, which obviously, yes, you're going to have to earn that gold before you buy it. Its build path is longsword 400 gold. It gives a 15 attack damage. It gives that movement speed that everybody likes. And then after 3 unique camps, it transforms into this. So from a 750 gold item, it turns into a 1100 gold item just by doing 3 camps. That's like amazing. Like, I don't think League has ever done something like that really. So then just get that item if you're playing an assassin jungler. It could, like, I need to experiment with Lee Sin. Obviously, Lee Sin being one of my signature champions. If his playstyle is going to be more tanky, or is it going to go back to being kind of AD assassin? Because that could be a very good build path for early game Lee Sin. Again, Lee Sin wants to scale in the early game. That's a good early game item that gives him movement speed that transforms automatically into that. That could be interesting, because some Lee Sins do buy Yumus and stuff, and that is a good choice. Next one is Edge of Night. Pretty cool name, and it is the new Serrated Dirk upgrade to channel for a Spellblade. So from Serrated Dirk, this one, you can go down into Edge of Night. It costs 3,100 gold, so it's not a cheap item. It's built of Pickaxe, Serrated Dirk, Null Magic Mantle, and 675 gold. It's got 60 AD, 35 Magic Resist. It's got plus 15 lethality, unique passive flat lethality, which means it has 6 armor penetration by the old system. Knives That Make You Faster gives that 20%, or that 20 movement speed, sorry. That is cool. And then the unique passive is Active Veil. Channel for 1.5 seconds to grant a spell shield that blocks the next enemy ability. They're giving Severe's E to assassins. Damn, that's good. Like, if you're an assassin right now, even a bruiser in top lane, I want to say, if like Aurelia or Gnar or Darius, this item is insane for you because it gives you AD, it gives you armor penetration, it gives you movement speed, especially if you're a bruiser like Darius that you can't get onto people. This will help you engage. It gives you magic resist, it gives you lethality, it gives everything it needs, but then on the top of that, it gives you a active spell shield. So spell shield is like Banshee's Veil or whatever it's called. I think it's Banshee's Veil. Maybe they've removed that. We'll have to see. I don't think they have. Banshee's Veil is annoying because you cannot control when the spell shield is coming up, and people can just pop it and for a useless spell. They can just throw a random little ability, a little poke ability, and you're now Banshee's Veil's gone for a minute. This you can control like Severe's E. This is amazing for assassins to try and get rid of the initial engage CC that people do. So I've said it a lot. Very easy to counter assassins is you CC them before they can get into the fight. This will help them not get CC'd before they get into the fight. So if you see a Rengar and you've got that ward down but he's jumping in, a lot of the time you'll try to CC him while he's stealth if you can see him. He's just going to use that ability while he's running at you, and boom, you can't CC him. That's such a good item for assassins and bruisers. It's unreal. Next one is the new updated Duskblade Dragfast, so it is staying. Mini Deathmark removed, so they've got rid of like the mini Z ultimate it had on it, and they deal bonus damage after being unseen. Disable near enemy wards. So it's pure assassin item, and being unseen, it doesn't mean like, well, technically it could mean if you go invisible, but it more means that just no enemies are currently seeing you, which I'm actually going to say one thing in a second, which is actually interesting. But the attack damage has gone down. No longer grants the movement speed, but it's gone up to the 20 movement speed out of combat stat, which all the Dirk items now do. Nola longer gives flat 10 armor penetration, gives lethality. As you can see, the penetration breaks even at level 8. So at level 8, you'll have the equivalent of the armor pen from the old item. That's what I was talking about earlier. So by level 18, you're getting way more armor penetration on these new items than you did before. So be happy, Assassins. It gives you better late games when everybody has crazy good armor. It's removing the mini death mark, but here's the two cool things. Unique passive Night Stalker. After being unseen for at least 1 second, your next basic auto attack deals 50 plus 2 lethality. True damage on hit. I'll talk about that in a second because it's important. Unique passive Blackout. Disable nearby enemy wards for 8 seconds after being spotted by one. So that again is pretty cool. So if you're like, I've been spotted by a ward, just get rid of them all and run away. What I want to point out though, which I don't think many people have pointed out, maybe they have, I don't know, is surprise. So you will have a buff called Night Stalker if you have not been seen for 1 second on the map, which means you always know if you're in vision of the enemy team. If I'm not getting this wrong, you will only have this buff if people haven't seen you for 1 second, which means if you're standing in a bush and you don't have Night Stalker, they have vision of you. That's the point. Unless the buff stays on you after you haven't been seen, which I don't know if it will, maybe it will, that could counter what I'm talking about here, but there's a potential that you will always know if you're under ward, which would be weird, but we'll see. Next one is Yumu's has been updated. Move faster active no longer grants attack speed. Instead, obviously, it gives that lethality. So the cost has gone down. The combined cost has gone down. The armor penetration has been moved. It's been moved to 20 lethality from flat to 20 armor pen, which obviously means that you get 8 armor penetration straight away. And then by level... Oh, God. By level, like... Yeah, around level 8, this item's cost effective comparing to what it used to be. And then it gives that movement speed. It gives movement speed passive while out of combat, and it also gives the movement speed by the passive, but also still gives that gets rid of unit collision for 6 seconds, which is good. Mortimer Mortius builds from Cordfield's Warhammer instead of Serrated Dirk, so they've changed the build path of it. The cost has stayed the same. The armor penetration is gone, but they've added cooldown reduction, obviously, because the Warhammer is now in there. And now the updated, clingy, unique passive, Life Grip. When Life Grip triggers, gain 20 attack damage, in addition to the previous plus 10% spell vamp and 10% lifesteal until out of combat. So, this item for champions like today's episode, Aatrox. If you're against an AP user in top lane, this is perfect for you now. Cooldown reduction is good for Aatrox, but it gives you that 10% spell vamp and lifesteal. That's really good. That's like, and more AD. That's great. Until you're out of combat and Aatrox is a skirmishing champion that's going to be continued to fight people. Pretty good for him. Pretty good for him. And there you go. There's all the new assassin items as such. So I'd say overall pretty damn good. I'm actually pretty happy with the new items. I'm definitely going to be using a bunch of them. When would be the first episode of A to Z that you guys are actually going to see one of these? That would be interesting. Who's the first assassin? So I did Aatrox and Ari, Akali. She doesn't really build a lot of these items. Alistair, Amumu, Anivia, Annie, Ash. God, there's not many assassins straight away, is there? Caitlyn, Cassio, Cho'Gath, Corki, Darius. Darius could use a couple of these, so Darius will be at D. Yeah, the assassins are later on. Evelyn. Okay, so Evelyn, will she use any of these? No, because most of them are AD. I have no idea where the first one is. There's Fiora, there's Fizz, Gangplank could use a couple of them. But Crit Gangplank is probably better right now. Graves, Hecarim, Alawi. I'm literally just waiting till I see the first assassin of when we know we're actually going to be using this stuff. And it looks ages away. Like, we're in K now when we still haven't had an assassin. Oh, yeah, Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is the first champion that I'm going to actually be able to buy these items on, like, all of them if I wanted to. That's a while away. Anyway, let's go on to the next point, the Living Jungle. It's the most, I guess, controversial thing that they've done, apart from, I guess, removing normal draft for some servers. But plants. From watching streams yesterday, I was watching PewDiePie, Bjergsen, Dyrus. The common theme of useless plants or gimmicky plants reigned supreme yesterday, really. I don't think any of them praised them. The only one that they actually liked was the honey fruit, and that hardly spawned for them. So what I'd say is plants seem like a gimmick that is just unneeded. Like, Riot, I know they like to update their game. Like, everybody needs to update their game. But if Season 6 didn't teach us that you are implementing changes, dynamic queue, for no specific reason, I think that follows plants. Like, why is plants... What's the point? Why add them? What does it add to League? I don't think it really adds anything other than a gimmick. I don't see a place for them. Like, do you see plants in LCS? No, I think it's a bit weird. So, honestly, I don't really like plants. All I'll say, the 3 different plants, Blast, Scryer, and Honeyfruit. Blast, if you hit Blast, it will be acting like Zig's bomb, or Zig's W, sorry. So, wherever you position, wherever it explodes, you'll jump into a certain direction. That direction is indicated by a circle on the floor, which you'll be able to see. Scryers is you hit it, and whatever direction is opposite from the way you're hitting it, it sends out a wave of vision. And finally, Honeyfruit is basically you kill it, it drops some fruits, and it heals you over time, each one you take. So, there you go. Smite. Unfortunately, they've got rid of the Smite stuff, but now Smite, they've added the healing. So Smite now heals you for 100 plus 10% of your maximum health when used against monsters, which is nice. Like, that is nice, but they've removed, obviously, large monsters no longer grant bonuses when smited. So no Wolf Spirit, no stun on the Krugs, no vision gaining when you get the Raptors, nothing. So I actually like the Smite buffs. I don't know if I was the only one, but yeah, I did quite like them. Hunter's Machete on hit damage has gone up, lifesteal's gone up, so it helps towards that early game that a lot of people are probably going to struggle with. And then the monster spawn and reward changes. So small camps respawn less often now. Basically, I'm a Cowsep. I was actually, I don't watch Cowsep. I respect him because he's a very good Master Yi player. I was on Twitter yesterday and he was tweeting out the lead designer at Riot. I can't remember his name right now. And Cowsep basically just said, do you guys just hate farm junglers? Do you guys just don't like them? Do you just prefer gank junglers? Because Cowsep, if you don't know who he is, he's like a Diamond 1 Master tier Korean one-trick pony. Or he plays on the Korean server. He's a white dude. But he's a one-trick pony Master Yi player. Obviously a farm-intensive jungler, and he was like, do you guys just hate it? I hate us farm junglers, because again, 50 seconds are now added onto camps. They can't chain farm. They'll actually need to go gank. And they said, no, we don't hate them. We just think it's not as a... what was it? It was some wording like they just don't feel it's like done well in the current system, that they just think the better way of jungling is doing ganking and farming, where farm jungling isn't a crazy good thing right now, and that's the way that they worded it. So monster levels now fall into 4 brackets depending on the average character in game, which is interesting. So if the average character in game is level 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, and then 10, it just scales indefinitely. Rewards, first clear gives about the same amount of gold experience, taking Krugs gives more. And then rewards across the game is slightly decreased, which is weird. I think junglers have always had a problem with XP. It's always been a problem. As a Lee Sin, I'm 5-0 in Lee Sin in the jungle. I'm level 9. The enemy jungler that's been farming a lot, even though I've got 5 kills, the enemy jungler is level 11. And I'm like, oh, okay. You don't get rewarded very well for being a crazy good gank jungler. But then you also now are not getting very rewarded on being a farm jungler. So maybe they're bringing those farm junglers on level pegging with the gank junglers. Maybe that's what they're thinking. So that 5-0 Lee Sin that's ganking all the time, who's level 9, combine it with the jungler that's only farming. Maybe that jungler now is only level 9 at the same time. Maybe that's what they're thinking. But junglers always have a habit of falling behind an XP of the game in general. It's very easy to fall behind. I've had games I'm behind the support if I'm ganking a lot. And that might make it even worse, because now the camps are giving less XP the longer the game goes on. So it's going to take a while for a jungler to get, level 11, level 16, which are obviously very important levels. Camp updates, so there is no mini camps, no little Kruggies next to the red camp or little lizards next to the blue camp. They are gone. They are solo camps now. Which again is a bit dumb. I think, in theory, yeah, it helps with solo clearing that if you don't have an AoE ability, but what about giving the blue buff to the enemy mid laner, or giving it the blue buff to your mid laner, at least you got a little bit of XP for doing the camp, having those two little monsters, killing those. That was something. Obviously, they have made up for it on other camps, like the Raptors now has more, the Krugs spawn more, so they've made up for it in other areas. I just think it's a little bit weird though. So yeah, Raptors, 2 more Raptors added, and the health roughly cut by half. Basically just allowing AoE junglers just to one-shot this, and then it still allows single target damage junglers to actually do it. Krugs are weird. I actually kind of find them humorous. They multiply. So after you kill one, 2 come out. After you kill those, 2 come out. And there's like 8 or something that are in total, which is kind of cool. And then Krugs also spawn 15 seconds after every other camp. Now people may go, why? To stop bot laners doing it. Riot do not like bot laners doing camps at level 1. They never have. They've tried to change it for a very long time. And basically now they're forcing junglers to start on their buff, which will give your bot lane, they have to leash for you, and it doesn't give them time to do the camp. That's the idea. But also, because these the red and blue buff are solo camps, you actually can solo them now. You don't actually need a leash every single champion because it's just one-on-one. You don't have little minions attacking you as well. So that you may not need a leash anymore. The wolves were unchanged other than all the camp changes above. So there you go. Rift Herald, the spawn time has gone up to 10 minutes. So they thought it was a bit too early for it to spawn. And the attack damage has gone down. So it's just a nerf, basically. Wait, hang on. It's his actual attack damage, sorry. So the Rift Herald hits less. So it's a bit weird because if it was at 6 minutes and they bring the attack damage down so he hits less, that makes sense. But they're making him spawn later and also he's going to do less damage, which is he's going to be very easy to do now. Elder Dragon. The Elder Dragon is no longer the more difficult for each dragon you've taken. Aspect of the duration up. So the aspect of the duration only ever used to last 2 minutes, which is the buff you got for killing Elder Dragon. It lasts now 150 seconds, so it just lasts longer. I always thought it was a bit too less because you kill Elder Dragon, most of the time you're quite low for killing him, so you'll go back and buy, and then you'll look to go do something, and you've got like a minute or 30 seconds left on Elder Dragon. What they're proposing here, that is very obvious, is they're making the Elder Dragon easier to kill, but the buff goes up. So after doing Elder Dragon, you may not have to go back and buy, but if you do have to go back and buy, the buff is lasting longer. So this extra 30 seconds, they're basically counting that 30 seconds as you going back and buying, and then getting back to go fight. So they're just adding that extra time on, which is nice. Minions, the life changing of minions' health growth over time is increased by 60%, so it's going to be harder to kill them later the game goes on. Melee minions no longer gain attack damage as the game goes. So, their health goes up, so it's going to be longer to kill them, but their damage isn't going to do anything. And then also the same for ranged minions, more or less. So, health growth over time decrease, and now they gain... Oh, so basically... the ranged minions are now going to do crazy good damage. So the ranged minions are going to do 100% attack damage as the game progresses. That's quite a lot. So there you go. Turrets, melee is 40%, or basically damage. Turret bullets now deal a fixed percent health damage to them, which is interesting. 2 years ago, we made inhibitors and Nexus turrets shoot laser beams instead of laser bullets. We're reverting that back. So it's the big boom, like, you know, the old system rather than the laser, and that's how much damage they're going to do. So they do percentage health damage. So if you're a melee range, or if you're a melee champion, you get hit by a tower of an inhibitor tower or a base tower, it's going to do 45% health of your health per bullet. It's quite a lot. So like 2 bullets, you're at 10% health. Yep, that's interesting. Minimap icons, turret minimap icons now change at 66 and 33% remaining health for stuff on the map, and also plants are now on the map too. Age of the Legion items, so there are some new items that are not assassin items, and again, we've been going for about half an hour roughly already, so we're probably going to go for another 15 minutes roughly, depending how much is left. So the total cost of ages is now 1100. The build path is Null Mantle, Cloth Armor, and 350 gold. Magic Resist has gone up. New armor, so you've got armor now in there. Because why are they putting armor in there? Because so many assassins now are going to have more armor penetration in late game, so it gives more choices for supports to buy armor. It no longer grants health, it no longer grants regen, and it no longer grants the aura. So this is just a unique item, basically. But then it builds into the locket of the Iron Solari, as it used to, I believe. So yeah, it now is build path is Ages, Null Mantle, and 650 gold. Its magic resist has gone up by 260 from 20. That's a big change. The cost has also gone down, by the way. It has armor, so you get armor, which is good, but it no longer gives health, it no longer gives a regeneration, it no longer gives cooldown reduction. What it gives now is wub wub wub. A unique passive, or unique active, sorry, grants a shield to nearby allies that absorbs up to 35 plus 35 per level damage, decaying over 2.5 seconds, 90-second cooldown, half effect if target that has recently been affected by another Iron Solari passive. And they've also removed the aura that gives people bonus magic resist. So this honestly is pretty good. This is actually a crazy big shield in late game. So what, 35 plus 35 per level. So by level 18, you're giving roughly a 650, maybe even more, a little bit more shield. Yeah, definitely more than 650. That's a big shield. That's really good. That's a great item. And that's to nearby allies, so it'll be a radius. So that's not even just a 1. That's like a Karma Ultimated E. That's crazy. That's really good for supports nowadays. Banner of Command has been updated. Cost has been changed, and it's been redesigned. It's not a split pushing item, really. It's now a tank item. But it does still grant the promote feature. So everything is the same. It no longer gives that passive of magic resist, but it still promotes people. So there you go. Enchanter itemization, so some mage changes here. The combine cost for Bemidden Idol is 550, and the heal and shield power has gone down to 8%. So just a bit of a nerf on that, but a nerf in cost, which makes up for it. And then Chalice of Harmony has gone down by 100 gold, combined cost down 100 gold. The old Chalice passive's removed, and the new one is increased to percentage base mana regen, also now increases base health regen by the same amount. Pretty good for just sieging, really. You know, if you're a support that doesn't really heal, this might be good for you because it allows you to just stay around in fights. It could even be good for Soraka because she can't really heal herself apart from the Q, which people can dodge. So this seems quite good. New item called Redemption. Redemption gives one more spell, bringing both a heal and damage available even after death. So are you an enchanter? Do you love healing and shielding your teammates so they don't die? Do you hate dying? Not because you're dead, but because you know your carry doesn't stand a chance without you? No problem. Redemption not only boosts your healing, but also gives you an additional ability that you can even be used while dead. With Redemption, you can carry a second chance at life, even if yours is already over. So basically, what you think of this, if you've ever played World of Warcraft, Holy Priests, that they stay in the holy form and they can still heal. This is basically that, but for one ability, more or less. So here we go. So its combined cost is 2100. Forbidden Isle, Crystalline Bracer, and 650 gold. Gives 400 gold, gives base health and mana regen, gives 10% cooldown reduction, gives a 10% bonus on heal and shield power. And then the passive, the most important thing, is target an area within 550 range, or 5050 range, 5500, sorry. After 2.5 seconds, call down a beam of light that heals allies for 130 plus 20 per target's level. Heal and burn the enemy champions for 10% of their maximum health as true damage, and deal 250 damage per enemy minions. Can be used while dead. That's insane. Like, it's not crazy healing. Like, it'll be significant. It definitely is the difference between life and death for a lot of situations. But 10% of maximum health for a support? That's insane. The supports are going to do more damage than most junglers by the looks of it with this item. This is why so many people were going like, assassins are not the problem now. Supports are OP. This is dumb. Like, this is, like, I say dumb in a good way. I do actually like this, by the way. But it's interesting. So Janna, Soraka, Nami, hell, even Alistair might build this because Alistair doesn't heal a lot. He goes into the middle of the team fight, he might die, but then can put this on people. That's good. Ardent Sensor grants less on hit damage, but now grants on hit heal. Combine cost is 650, it's gone down, total cost has gone down, heal and shield power has gone down by 5%, and now, so ardent, your heals and shields on ally or on another allied champion grants them, instead of the bonus damage, 20% attack speed, gone up by 5%, and 20 magic damage on hit, causes their basic attacks to also heal them for 20 health. Quite nice. It's basically just a free lifesteal item, basically, for your AD carry. So they're going to be doing less damage from this item, but they're going to be healing more, which is pretty good. Mikhail's Crucible no longer heals, but has no travel time and grants your target slow immunity. Successful cleanses also grant them movement speed. Pretty good. So it doesn't heal them, so I guess you'll have Mikhail's and you'll have Redemption. There you go. There's your 2 items. That will synergize amazingly well for protecting your AD carry. So its cost and everything's gone down. The mana regen has gone down. The heal and spell power has gone up. So if you buy Mikhail's and you buy Redemption, you're gaining 30% heal and spell shield and heal and shield stuff. That's ridiculous. And then the new Chalice increases your base mana and all that stuff. So no, this is really good. Unique active cleanses or stuns, runes, taunts, fears, silences, and slows on an allied champion and grants them slow immunity for 2 seconds. 120-second cooldown. Successful cleansing and effect using the active will also grant the target 40% movement speed for 2 seconds. Basically, if your AD carry gets CC'd, you use this on him and he's gone. Like, he's got so much movement speed and he can't get slowed. He is just gone, and he's either going to reorganize and kill people, or he's just leaving. He's going to his base and being, see ya, I'm going home. Brilliant item. Athene's is now slightly cheaper, also has the new higher base mana and all that stuff, and health regen. Warden Itemization. So Wardens are tanky supports, basically. So think of Leona, Nautilus, Alistair, that type of thing. New item, Knight's Vow. Wardens have a lot of tools to control team fights, throwing crowd control left and right. But when it comes to protecting a single target from damage, they often find themselves unable to help out, unless their name is Bron, which is true. We want to give those champions the ability to pick one single teammate and work overtime to keep them alive, even when their spells are on cooldown. So the item is 2400. It gives just tanky stats, health 400, 20 armor, base health regeneration is 100%, and buddy system. Unique active. Designate an allied champion as your partner. 90-second cooldown. Think of it as Callista that you just link with somebody. On my way, unique passive. If your partner is nearby, gain 50% movement speed when moving towards them, and plus a 40 additional armor. Think of this as, you know, Titanic moment. You're jumping in fight, or you're jumping in front of the bullet. You're running at them just to try and protect them. You're faster and tankier with armor. And then they've actually put in a slang passive here saying, I got you, fam. That's weird. Unique passive. If your partner is nearby, heal for 12% of the damage your partner deals to allied two champions, and redirect 12% of the damage your partner takes from champions to you as true damage. So basically, you're healing your AD carry for 12% that they deal, but then you're also taking 12% damage that your AD carry takes, I believe. That's interesting. Yeah, wow, that's actually kind of cool. Champions can only be linked by one. No, yeah, wow, okay, that's a pretty good item. Face of the Mountain, doubling season active now also shields when you cast on an ally, and now also shields the nearest low health ally when you cast on yourself. Okay, that's cool. Item efficiency pass. We're bringing the cost down, all the stats up. Everything must go. So basically, just again, cost efficiency is great. So more health regeneration, Eye of Equinox, less gold of Eye of the Oasis. Zeki's Harbinger is going down in cost. Talisman is going down in cost. Frozen Heart is going down in cost. All good things. Champions, again, I'm not going to go through these all crazily because I don't want to make this video so long. I already feel my voice is going a little bit, and I do need to record a commentary today. All I'll say is the Alistair now does a lot more CC potentially, and that's the point. Potentially he does more CC if played correctly. Twitch is now ambush in camouflage, and W leaves a gas cloud so people, if they walk into it, they get affected by it, which is pretty cool. And his ultimate is back to called Spray and Pray. So many people always said to me for the past year or two when it was renamed to Rat-a-tat, Huz, why do you still call it Spray and Pray? Because it's Spray and Pray. That's what that ability was. And like, I just couldn't bring myself to call it Rat-tat-tat. That just sounded dumb. And I think Riot are on the same thing, and they now have renamed it Spray and Pray once again. And if you're unaware, that was the original name of his ultimate a couple years ago. Moving on, he's got new splash arts, and Ivern has received a nice buff, actually. He actually could see more play. Kled, remount time has gone down. I do find Kleds do get killed. They get screwed over a little bit when they're just getting back on Skull. And his W has received a small nerf in late game. He does one-shot people in late game a little bit too easily. Some item changes. Unique aura. Nearby champions take 10% more magic damage. So if you have an AP comp, buy one of these because they're going to be taking 10% more AP damage. That's pretty good. So that's nice. Hexic Revolver. It now does less damage. So there you go. Hextech Pro Belt does less damage. Pretty simple. New Masteries. Double-Edged Sword is now being moved to tier 4, but I believe it does. You can get 5% damage instead of the 2.5, I think it was. Fresh Blood, Cunning. So there's all different mastery changes, which is great. The League client update is coming in this patch to open beta pretty soon. Obviously, if you're in the alpha, we actually as alpha testers, if you log in the alpha before, I think it's November the 15th, you actually get a special summoner icon that nobody else will get if you have been on the alpha before this point, which is kind of nice. But everybody, if you don't have the new client, you'll be able to get on it pretty soon. New feature, there's actually the icon that I was talking about right there. Scoreboard ordering, as somebody that has for the past year, when they've actually allowed us to do reorganizing people, like, okay, he's top lane, I put you at the top of the scoreboard when I press tab. They're actually doing that automatically for us, which I think is very nice. Thank you very much, Riot. It actually saves me the early game of doing that. And then Victorious Maokai is coming. People are going to be asking a lot of questions. When am I getting my border? When am I getting my rewards? In the next couple of weeks. Be patient. You know, it's not an instant thing. They do the smaller servers first just to check everything works. I believe OCE and Japan. It might be those two servers. I think they've done those already. It might have been Russia, but I'm not sure. But they've done definitely Japan already. And then the EU-West, the North America, the bigger servers, they happen last because we're pretty big. They want to make sure everything's working before they put out the change. This year we're getting Victorious Maokai. Remember, if you do not own Maokai, do not buy him. You get him for free if you are gold and above, so you get the skin. If you don't own the Maokai, you also get Maokai. So there you go. And obviously there's the physical rewards for people. A lot of bug fixes, which I'm not going to go through. And then the upcoming skins. Skins I'm excited for. Honestly, quite a lot of them. I'm going to be getting Karthus Lightbane. I'm going to be getting Jace Brighthammer. I'm going to be getting Sejuani Dawnchaser. She is riding a lion. My logo is a lion. I'm going to be playing Sejuani, I think. I don't think I'll get Bard. I prefer his winter skin. I just think it's awesome. And then these skins are pretty cool. The Worldbreaker series, I'll probably get a couple of them. Probably not all of them. I think I'll get the Trunda one because I think it's his best one. And I might get the Anasus one. I know I've got the legendary one. That's the P. Diddy one or whatever. Not P. Diddy. Is it P. Diddy? I always get confused. No, Snoop Dogg. That one. Sorry. I've just offended probably hundreds of people that like those type of people. I'm not someone into rap. So I get them so confused often. But yeah, Snoop Dogg, his dancing skin, so I can do it. I have it. It's cool with Infernal Nasus, but Worldbreaker just looks cool. It's brand new. It has more effects. I just like it. Chromas, new Chromas is Poppy, or Battle Regalia, Poppy, and Dragon Slayer Brom. And that is the patch. So there you go, guys. My voice is shot, so I'm going to have a break in between recording this and my commentary for today. But I think we went through everything important, apart from obviously the Assassins and then the updated Alistair and Twitch. I'd recommend, again, going on the videos yourselves. Again, the reason I'm not doing it is I wouldn't do it justice. The videos are going to be better at explaining it than me. It's that simple. Their videos very easy to digest. I'm not sure who's doing the talking. It might be Freak or someone else. And you just sit there and watch and you go, okay, I know what Rengar does now. That's what you need to do. I'd recommend to do it. All I'll say is, if you know Rengar, if you know Echo, if you know LeBlanc, you know, they are still those champions. You're not going to go, whoa, what's that? They're still kind of them. You know, not any of them has had a crazy change that's just like, oh, that's a new champion. They're all kind of the same. You know, Talon does the same stuff apart from he can now jump over walls. Katarina now can still jump on you, spin around, but she has to manage her daggers more. Rengar can jump on you still, but he actually has to land his abilities. So that's basically the changes. They're more or less the same champions, but they have more scaling, different scaling, a couple different things in there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's extra video. If you did enjoy the patch video, throw a like on the video. It does encourage me to do them more often. You know, I try to do them as much as you guys want them, and you know, people today in the A to Z video definitely wanted it. So again, if you liked it, throw a like on it. Remember, we have the Steel Series giveaway happening right now. It'll be linked down below. But yeah, what do you like about the changes? Let me know in the comment section below. Are you excited about playing any of the assassins personally? I am looking forward to jump on Rengar. He used to be a champion of mine that he played all the time. But I haven't played him in quite some time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Throw a like on it if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time.